Hey, how's it going? It's Perry here. I I felt like it was needed to come on here, do a video because I got a message, and I get shit tons of messages on social media, and they're all from trauma survivors who are breaking a silence, or they say that something has happened and they're asking for advice. Today, I had a woman, a mother, reach out to me. And the message kind of like, I don't know, it angered me. It pissed me off. It made me cry. It did a whole heap of things. And I couldn't even imagine what this mother is going through. But to cut the story short, her and her kids, well, she didn't know it was her kids. She thought it was just her. She knew that her and her kids were being physically and emotionally abused by the dad, by the husband. But then she later finds out that her husband or her ex-husband was sexually abusing the kids. And they're currently in court now, talking it like, going through these court proceedings. And the daughter is not being believed. And 6 months ago, she killed herself. And she left behind letters, basically to fight, for justice. And man, if any of you are watching this and you don't know whether your story should be shared, you don't know if there's any point in you finding your voice, you don't even believe that your voice is powerful, this message is for you. And is that your voice, your story could save girls like her. These girls out there, these boys out there, these people out there, these survivors that are out there who are living in silence. These survivors out there who have broken the silence, but they're not being believed by those people who they deem to be worthy of, they need to be believed by these people. The court system, the police. And she's not being believed. And the only way out for her was suicide. Your voice can help people like her. Your story can help people like her. Here's the thing, your story, you've been through shit in your life, and your story is not about whether it's worse than someone else's. It's not about whether it's better than someone else's. It's not about comparing your story with someone else's. Because here's the thing, you will be able to find a story out there that is worse than yours. There are plenty of stories out there that are worse than mine. I could easily sit here and say, oh, well, I was only physically touched and masturbated by my granddad. I was never raped by him. That story over there, there's rape in that. That's worse than mine. So I'm not going to share my story because that story's worse. It's bullshit. Because you can have a whole group of people and they can hear my story and they would relate, keyword, they'll relate to my story because maybe they were also abused by their granddad. Maybe they weren't raped. Maybe it was just fondling, masturbation. Maybe it was just grooming. But they can relate to my story. They might be they'll be inspired by my story, yes, but they might be very inspired by that story over there, but they can relate to ours. And that is where the power comes in. That's where the true transformation lies, is through the relatability of one story to another. That's the link. That's the bridge that we need. Many of you might be following me because you relate to my story. Maybe some of you just are inspired by my story. Maybe you don't relate to it. But I can guarantee that most of you relate to my story. I talk to, I run a publishing company, Powerful Books, and there's a handful of survivors that we work with who are much further on down their journey and they want to find healing through writing a book. We developed this really amazing process that fast tracks people's healing. We're talking 40 years worth of healing in 4 weeks. Someone else that she said 10 years worth of healing throughout the process of writing her book, which was about 3 months. We developed a very unique, never seen before anywhere process to help trauma survivors find healing through the process of writing a story. So we work with people for that, but we also work with people who want to find healing, yes, but also they want to be able to publish a book out there into the world. You know, we've got, you know, bunch of books here that people just, they publish it and like, right, who's that one person that I can help, that I can put my story into their hands, and it will make them feel not alone. It will make them feel heard. It will make them feel seen. It will make them feel empowered, inspired, motivated to find their voice, to find healing, and to take control of their narrative of their life. That's what this is about. You know, we work with a small group of people, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, my goal here on this planet is to use my voice to empower people like you to find your voice. Because the more of us trauma survivors who have gone through fucking shit, and we no longer tolerate silence. Like, we're breaking that generational cycle, breaking that generational chain. You know, our parents lived in silence, their parents lived in silence. When it comes to us, we're not living in silence, and we're not passing that trauma onto our fucking kids. So if it can end with us, and there's more people all around the world where it's ending with them, what do you think happens for the future generations? No silence. They have their voice. They never lost their voice to begin with. You know, they're lucky enough to not go through abuse. They're lucky enough to be brought up by parents who aren't alcoholics, who aren't abusers of any kind. That's why we're doing this. That's why we have to find our voice. No matter how scary it is, because it will be scary for a lot of you. No matter how scary it is, there will be maybe consequences for some of you. Maybe it might break apart the family. Maybe it might prick the ears of the abuser. I don't know. With your situation, many things might come up. And it's not about, okay, well, I'm not going to do it then. No, it's about, okay, that is a potential reality. What can I put in place to protect myself because of that? You know, many of these guys here, many of them, start off by saying, I'm going to write under a pseudonym, or I'm not going to share my book with the world, or whatever it is. And I say to these guys, I was like, listen, the version of you now living in silence compared to the version of you who's out there in the world making fucking changes is two completely different people. So the decision that you need to make right now is based on the current version of you, which is, okay, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone. I'm going to find my voice. I'm going to go through the process of finding my voice, which is writing the story. Once you've found your voice, once you have your story in your hand and you've got it, that version of you would have owned their shit, would have stood within their power, they found their voice. And 9 times out of 10, they're like, you know what, if my family breaks up, that's not my fault, that's on them, fuck them. Because the purpose is far too great. We've got to make the purpose greater than our fears, you know? And I get that it's scary, I do. But it's like, what's the alternative? We stay living in silence, then what happens? Girls like the one I'm talking about today, like that daughter, they die by suicide. Why? Because they believe that's their only option. It's not. To them in that moment, it feels like it is. And that will be their truth. But the more that we can do now, not only does it help us, it helps our inner child. Not only does it help our future generations to come, but it helps the people out there that needs it. And I don't know. I don't know, man. Sometimes I question. Sometimes I'm just like, what? Man. I don't know. It's like, is why I don't tend to enjoy myself a lot. It's why I don't tend to go on a bunch of holidays and do all of this sort of shit, because I'm just like, how can I be chilling here on a beach? How can I be chilling here by a pool, not doing anything, when there's fucking people out there being raped, when there's people out there living in silence? feeling like they're the only ones that have gone through what they've been through. There's a big fight. There's a big fight in this world. There's a big fucking battle. Huge battle. And that battle is silence. It's the abusers, yes. But it's the silence that comes after. It's the shame. It's the universal, hey, you better shut the fuck up, because we don't want to know about that. And here's the thing, the people saying that, not all the time are the abusers. Yes, at the time, the abuser will say something to the kid, hey, don't tell your family because I'll kill them, for example. But later on down the road, maybe they had enough courage to speak up. But then there's the people closest to them. It's the mum, it's the dad, not the abuser, that says, thank you for saying it, but don't say anything else. We don't want people to know. It's that, you know. It's a big fight. And I don't know. It's kind of like I feel like I'm trying to recruit an army. And I've got many troops. I've got many soldiers, many warriors who are doing such amazing things, but we need more. We need more people like yourself to stand up and be brave. Call this a call to arms. There's a lot of people right now who are this close from ending themselves because they feel like there's no other way. But there is. There is another way. It requires a little bit of work. It requires courage from people like myself, like everyone at Powerful Books, but like you, all of you guys watching this. Don't underestimate the power of your voice. I'm telling you. Okay, stop giving in to the people around you that would rather have your silence. Fuck them. They don't deserve you. They don't deserve you. How dare they ask you to stay silent? Who the fuck do they think they are? Just because there's a famous quote, just because your family... No, wait. Just because your blood doesn't make you family. You've got to earn it. Yeah? I'm gonna wrap this up, but the one thing I want to leave you with is that if you're living in silence to some degree, if you want to speak out but you're not because of fears, your voice is the most powerful thing that you have. It's the most powerful thing that you have. And for that to be silenced, it's like, I don't know, your whole world is going to change once you tap into that. At first, do it for yourself, and then very quickly you'll realize how you're doing it for others. Especially when that first person, I remember the first message I ever received, and it was 2 messages. Well, not the first message I ever received, but the first message I had received to this magnitude, where she said, I was going to take my life tonight, but then I found your page, thank you. Yeah. But that message today, man, she's a teenager. That's why I'm doing this though, and I hope with this video, if it can just help one of you to just find your voice and to speak out. If it saves your life, great. If you're past that and you're not really contemplating suicide, and you're much further down your healing journey, and you're like, I'm not contemplating suicide, but I do want to use my voice, but I'm scared. Is my voice worthy? Is it this? Is it that? Fuck all that. Your voice is the most powerful thing that you have, and I promise you, once you lean into your story, once you lean into your voice, and you attach yourself to that purpose, which is helping other people out there who are currently stuck where you once was. Again, it's not about comparison, it's about relatability. Once you help that one person reaches out to you and says, you fucking helped me. You've helped me not go through a suicide. You helped me break my silence. You've helped me do this, you've helped me do that. Your life will change. And I will fucking kiss your feet because we need people like you. There needs to be so many of us. Let's go and help women out there, girls out there not go through a suicide. Let's help the men out there like my dad who are currently alcoholics. And let's help them not drink themselves to death because of the silence. We've got to break the silence. We've got to be powerful. We've got to stand up as strong, courageous warriors, okay? Let's do this.